it's Maiden, back again with another Cardfight Vanguard tech profile. I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. And let's get started. So this time, we've got a Genesis budget deck profile. For any of you who are wondering, no, this is not Valkyrion. So if you're here for Valkyrion, get the hell off. But anyways, ignore that. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Alright, this is a deck that no one really builds, unless you're a really big fan of the archetype. No one really likes it. I kind of think it's okay. I don't think it's the best. Obviously, it's not the best, but it's not the worst either, probably. Let's go ahead and get started. This is the Artemis deck. So starter being aiming for the stars Artemis, auto skill when it's wrote upon, draw a card, and then if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 1 or greater, get a quick shield. So you know, that 5k shield that everyone just uses as discard fodder for searching skills and other skills and shove it to soul for skills. Yeah, that thing. So, really useful. Let's do a quick shield. 4 copies of Goddess of Self-Sacrifice Kusinada. We've got 4 draws, 8 crits. This is the draw PG. So, you know, being able to defend yourself with a draw trigger is really nice. And the reason why there are 4 crits and 8 draws, even though I should say that draws are actually important in this deck, what they are, is because the deck needs more rushing power. And this deck has a very certain grade 3 that makes so crits are more important. And then we got the 4 heals of Laurier. Now into grade 1s. 2 copies of the Battle Maiden, Mihikariime. Auto rearguard circle. When placed from hand, reduce the next time you Soul Blast by 3 till end of turn. And that's really useful. This deck doesn't Soul Blast much, but it does use Soul a lot. So being able to reduce when you Soul Blast is a really good thing. So 2 copies, not that useful, but still useful nonetheless. To other grades. 3 copies of Swift Runner of the Clear Skies, Achilles. So, act rearguard circle, put itself into soul. 3 of your units get plus 3k power till end of turn and an 8k base. So that's really good, you know. He's an 8k booster. He's an 8k just in general. And you can show him to soul and get 3 units plus 3. That's really useful because, you know, plus and 3s can possibly hit magic numbers. And then, this, like I said, this deck needs soul. So being able to shove itself to soul is really useful. So 3 copies. 4 copies of Astraea the Full Heavens. Auto Vanguard or Rearguard Circle. When placed, draw a card and put a card from your hand at the bottom of your deck. If this unit's on Vanguard Circle, Soul Charge 2. So that's already really good. Like I said, deck needs Soul, you get a free draw, you get something in bottom, and then if it's on Vanguard Circle, which is why it's your ride target, you Soul Charge 2. Granted, 7k base, but still. And then Auto Rearguard Circle at the end of the battle that it boosted, Soul Blast 2 and bounce it back to hand. You will probably never use that skill unless you need the defenses and you've already used up the soul amount that you needed. But otherwise, you will never use that skill. But still, really good card, 4 copies. And then finally, 4 copies of the Ace Grade 1, but not the ride target for obvious reasons. Bowstring of Heaven and Earth, Artemis. So, auto rearguard circle, when it attacks or boosts, you may put a card from your soul face down as a Divine Equip Gauge for this unit. Divine Equip Gauge, pretty much what this thing does. It's why this deck needs soul, because you need soul constantly to put down equip gauges. Especially when your opponent's just going to blow up your rear guards. You have to keep doing it over and over and over again. So really useful. But then also, act rearguard circle, counterblast 1 and discard 1 of its equip gauges. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the same column as his unit and retire it. You're never going to do that unless the rear guard is that damn important. But otherwise, you're not going to do that. You're just going to keep the gauge on it and then never use that skill. You will only use that if the rear guard's that damn important. 4 copies. Now into grade 2s. 4 copies of Battle Maiden Izunawa. Okay, so when placed, you Soul Charge 1 on Rearguard Circle, so that's really good. It's just a free Soul Charge by being placed. And, or maybe that says Blast. I can't tell. If it's Soul Blast, then I'm an idiot. But if it's not, then good. And then, continuous Rearguard Circle, this unit gets plus 5k. So it becomes a 15k at all times. And it's either on place... Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, it says Soul Blast. But even if it is Soul Blast, it doesn't matter, because this deck already has enough soul charging. Having 4 cards at Soul Blast isn't going to make that much of a difference. Why does I say that now when I fight with this deck and I'm going to get wrecked by that one skill? Anyways, 4 copies, still useful despite the Soul Blast thing. 4 copies of Strong Bow of the Starry Knight, Ulysses. At auto rearguard circle at the end of the battle that attack the Vanguard, shove this unit to soul, draw a card and Soul Charge 1. More units that Soul Charge, because once more, if I have to say this, if your opponent keeps nuking your field, the Divine Gauges go to drop with you, which means you're going to have to keep using Soul. There's a reason why there's like 6 different cards in this deck that send themselves to soul or just flat out soul charge. Really helpful here. Plus it's a free draw and just a free 2 soul charge. So amazing unit. 4 copies. 4 copies of Twilight Hunter Artemis, the Ace Grade 2. Auto rearguard circle. When this unit attack hits, you may put a card from your soul face down as a divine gauge for this unit. So, and then continuous rearguard circle, this unit gets plus 10k for each of this unit's divine gauge. So that's really good. 1 gauge, and this was permanent during your opponent's and your turn. So it's 1 gauge equals 20k base, 2 gauge equals 30k base, 4 gauge equals 50k base, etc. Which is really good because this deck is going to spam gauges like there's no tomorrow. So, awesome card, 4 copies. Now on to grade 3s. Here's our Ace Grade 3 right off the bat. Battle Deity of the Night, Artemis. So continuous all Vanguard Circle, all of your units with divine gauges cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects, so they can't be locked, they can't be nuked, they can still be attacked into, but they can't be nuked, and I believe that's it? Oh wait, no, they can't be placed in a drop zone, because that's technically different from retiring. And then they get plus 5,000 power at all times, and then the trigger effects this unit gets. So yes, you cannot put a divine gauge on the Vanguard Circle, but all of your units with divine gauge on them automatically get a plus 5k base at all times, no matter whose turn it is. Can't be chosen by card effects, so the only way your opponent's going to kill them is by battle. And it gets the trigger effects, which is why there are 8 crits. Because you would run, I'm just going to say this, you probably like put Force 2 down, or you may be put Force 1. I use Force 2 with this deck. But you put Force 2 on the Vanguard. They guard it. Let's just say Twin Drive, first check, crit, and let's just assume your front row has the divine gauge. Crit. Oh, look at that. All effects to the Vanguard. Skill. The other ones get a crit and a 10k. Second check. Crit. All effects to the Vanguard. So then the others have like 3 crit on them. It's like Asha Flower Token, but the original is slightly suckier. But who cares? Still amazingly useful. 4 copies. Well, it also has another skill where when placed, you may put a card from your soul face down as a divine equip gauge for this unit. So, really, you only need to ride one of these. I mean, you can ride more if you want to put pressure, but otherwise, you just need one, and then you can just rush your opponent to death. It's a really good card. 4 copies. Where is it? Oh, whoops, I accidentally skipped over this. 4 copies of Eternal Goddess Iwanagahime. So act Vanguard or Rearguard Circle once per turn, Soul Blast 3. Draw a card, put a card from your hand into Soul, and increase this unit's power by 2 times the amount of the shield that was put into the Soul at the end until the end of turn. So, for example, if you put a crit in, if you put the heal into Soul, it gets plus 40, which is just amazingly useful. But it's not good because of the Soul Blast 3. That's why Mihikariime's here. You're mainly going to use this as a last resort, or if you just can't find Artemis. So, 4 copies, last resort card. I would not suggest using it unless you have to. Now onto the gifts. 5 copies of Force 1 for obvious reasons, because, you can actually stack this, and, plus 10k and all that stuff. If you want to get a short-term Force marker, Astral works best. And Astral Force 2 as well, because fit the bill. I would mostly use this with this deck, because, crit pressuring is already amazing, because you can just place it on the Vanguard Circle, so then your opponent is pressured to guard it, so then whenever you drive check, you can still give it to the Vanguard, so now the other rear guards are pressured for guard. So now your opponent has to guard more, because you got an extra crit on the Vanguard, and your drive check could possibly unleash more hell. Or, you can just do Force 1, it won't have the extra pressure on it, but it will force more guarding power out. So either way, really useful. Well, that was the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your Vanguard.